The UN Secretary-General has made an explosive statement, effectively accusing Saudi Arabia of threats to clear itself over the deaths of children in Yemen. The Saudi government was on a blacklist for killing more than 500 children in the war, until the UN suddenly removed it from the list this week.
Only this week, in a shelling attack, 10 children were wounded in Yemen, where pro-government forces are fighting Shiite rebels, the Houthis. As the rebels gained the upper hand last year, a Saudi-led coalition began bombing to stop their advance. A UN report says the Saudi campaign has killed more than 500 children.
The report describes horrors no child should have to face.
Saudi Arabia was infuriated to find itself on a UN blacklist of governments that commit violence against children in war. It's understood the Saudis demanded to be taken off the list, threatening to cut millions of dollars in UN funding. This week, the UN caved in and the Saudis got their way.
It is unacceptable for member states to exert undue pressure.
The UN boss said removing Saudi Arabia from the blacklist was one of the hardest decisions he's ever made.
I also had to consider the very real prospect that millions of other children would suffer grievously if, as was suggested to me, countries would defund many UN programs.
But the Saudi government won't have a bar of the accusations.
It is not in our style, it is not in our genes, it is not in our culture to use threats and intimidation.
The UN says it's still reviewing the blacklist, but the Saudi government says its removal from the list is now irreversible. Anne Barker, ABC News.